Good afternoon, Texas bikers all across the world. We are here for a Popeye weekend update. So, we're going to dig right into it. Christmas is past, and I would also like to thank the Lord for the beautiful days we've had here in Texas. We've had 80-degree days, and I'm going to make sure to get out on my bike today. Oh, yeah. I'm ready to ride. So we will do that as soon as we're done with this podcast. And so, don't know where I'm going yet. May go over to the stockyards. May go to Strokers over in Dallas, my hometown. And yeah, so this is crazy. But I want to tell you right now, and especially you Gen Zers out there, because the key is Gen Z, I do believe, just like it was when Donald Trump was elected 47. Yeah. So we're going to go as long as my voice will hold out. And so, yeah. Let's get with it. And first thing I want to talk about is YouTube. Oh, yeah. YouTube. YouTube AI. YouTube AI. Try and talking to a human being from the support. Try to talk to a human being. For years, we had been trying to get our channel back onto YouTube. And I got the same answers all the time. But what is interesting about the whole thing and their policies, it is all run by AI and algorithms. That's it. You cannot talk to a human being unless it's through a lawyer. That's the truth of it, and you're filing suit against them, which we may do at some point. If we can find somebody willing to take them on. It's incredible. But they need to change their policies on things like when there's some music in the background that you did not intend to have in your video, but yet somebody, either on purpose or just by mistake, it got into your video, then you should not be held accountable as a copyright infringement. Matter of fact is, we see it as if you put music on the internet, guess what? It's out there. It's out there. Nobody should be getting sued over copyright issues when they're posting these things willy-nilly on YouTube. Just my opinion. I'm entitled to it, no matter what YouTube thinks. But they need the human beings that do not run YouTube need to take a look at their policies and make some changes. Then again, maybe we ought to make them change. And how do you do that? Well, go to other platforms. And yes, send them letters, emails. Raise a stink is what you need to do. So yeah, we got Jamon Rooney here. Yes, sir. Happy holidays. Popeye, Ohio is in the house. We're glad about that. Have you got any snow up there? We've had 80-degree days here in Texas. And Yeah, in 1965, I was going into the Navy. I left for Great Lakes, Illinois. It was about 77 degrees when I left Texas. And I had on a sweater that I figured, since I'm going north, I might need a sweater. Hell, what I needed when I got up there and the Great Lakes were frozen over, what I needed was a damn Eskimo suit, is what I needed. But they took us good care of us. As soon as we got there, they gave us some pea coats, some Navy pea coats, that were either too big or ripped up the back. In other words, pieces of crap. I don't know whether the guys that were there at the boot camp thought that was funny, but we surely didn't. We surely didn't. No. So, let me say a couple of things here. Everybody's talking about affordability. And what we are saying to you, let your eyes be your guide as to what's going on and whether things are affordable or not. Because here in Arlington, Texas, and all over Texas, people are traveling. The streets are crowded with traffic. The malls are full. The outlet stores are full. Restaurants are full. And man, let me tell you, anybody that was open on Christmas night, they were making a killing. A killing. Even restaurants we've seen with very little clientele, they were full. It was incredible and still is as of right now. I can tell you the traffic through these holidays is heavy and people are out. The malls are full. I don't know what they're buying or what they're taking back or whatever, but it's full. Let your eyes be your guide. Maybe it's just not what the media claim. Just maybe it's not the narrative that Democrats are pushing. What they did, and they don't do anything without doing a poll, and that's on their own base. They do these polls, and if a word comes out there like affordability, they jump on it. They want the whole nation to think that they're in dire straits, that they can't afford nothing. Well, let me tell you, that's not the case if you look around. If you look around. The movies are packed. And they haven't had days like this in a very, very long time. Because you can stay at home and watch a movie that comes around just a few days after it's been released on the internet. Incredible, everybody. Incredible. Let your eyes be your guide. And I'm going to tell you in a minute what our mission is going to be. It's aimed at Gen Z, millennials, and anybody that'll listen. Listen up. Listen up. Once again, forget the propagandists, which is the news media, which is your local television. Even them are propagandists and pushing narratives. They want to control the narrative. And what we need to do is have an army of citizen journalists an army. Case in point, everybody. This young man, and he's in the sweatshirt. Go pay attention to his sign he's got there. I don't know whether somebody handed that to him or what. But Nick is 23 years old. He's been doing this YouTube as a citizen journalist. And he goes into the meat of the problems. Right there with all these migrants that are loving Joe Biden. Young men, with the exception of the black man that went way to the right, brought into the country illegally. And some of the results of that illegal stuff, and I'm going to tell you young people right now, any one of you can do the same thing that Nick Shirley is doing. Get a camera or a cell phone that allows you to go live. You are a citizen journalist. You are. And there's plenty of items to go after, especially with politicians, especially with the media, because they lie. And now we're catching them in the act. And let's listen to Nick Shirley. I'm going to play you about a 2-minute clip. Listen to this. It is incredible. And he has mastered his craft. Here we go, everybody.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside the building. Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota, as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia like the Al-Shabaab, and others enriched themselves all at the U.S. taxpayers' expense. And in this video we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked. How deep is this fraud here inside of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these child care centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day, and all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking. And then I'd go by another daycare, and I'd see the same thing. And I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children every time I went by there. They never had a single child there. And then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation, contributing. but they never had a passenger, never, ever once. And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned. Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
Let me tell you, that was incredible. Incredible. But understand, young people, understand. And you know what? Anybody at any age, I'm still doing this. I'm still doing the same thing and more. But anybody can do this. Nick Shirley, if you look it up right now, there are no tax returns or anything like this. Well, go to AI. They will help you get started as a citizen journalist. And yeah, you can start making money. Nick Shirley is worth, right now, his net worth is anywhere from $93,000 to $500,000. Let me say that again, to $500,000. And he has honed his craft. I've known him for at least 4 years. So he's 23 now. So that means he started when he was about 18 or 19 with his mother as his sidekick. Yeah. As a matter of fact is, I think she still is. She's in the background, probably editing, no telling, doing what she's doing, or planning their trips. Because now Nick Shirley is not only operating within the U.S., he goes into the belly of the beast in the U.K., in France, every place where the riots. And let me tell you, they are on the verge of civil war over there, over immigration. And I got news for you. We'll talk about going into 2026, because let me tell you, when the big, beautiful bill activates and things start happening, 2026 is going to be dynamite. And you better think about what your future is going to be as a young person. Because following Democrats is going to bring you nothing but heartache. And they will finish the job of mass migration to fundamentally change our country. Let me say this to you young people. Be proud of who you are. Whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're brown, whether you are in any certain other race. Sorry about that. So, yeah, ethnicity is what I was looking for. And my wife ought to know better than that. Anyway, this is what we're doing. Sorry for the interruption. Be proud of who you are. Don't let anybody shame you as a racist, period, because you are an American. And if you have a question about any of these immigrants, that is not racism. That's looking at what's going on and seeing that they are not here to assimilate, they are here to take over. That's what they're here for. listen to what's going on in Minnesota. Minnesota is a cesspool. And no matter what these people say, they're lying. How does she go from, her and her husband go from 65,000 to 30 million? Well, guess what? Guess what? But these people, Democrats, they don't have anything but to protect criminals, criminal immigrants, immigrants, period, that should not be here, that came in illegally under Biden's watch. That's the truth of it. These people are certified liars. It's what they are. They set the wheels in motion for all the crap we see going on today. Just saying. Just saying. Just go figure. Go figure. And of course, right now, the inflation rate for 2025 is 2.92. It is lower. Yep. It's lower. So the inflation is down about $1 or so. I don't know. It's complicated. But let your eyes be your guide. These people, what we understand now, these crazy people that have all these entities that are here to rob us of our tax dollars. It's what they're doing. They're following the Cloward and Pivens. Here it is, right here. I've told you about this once before. The 4 steps of the Cloward and Pivens strategy. Overload and break the welfare system. Number 2, have chaos ensue. Any of this sound familiar? 3, take control of the chaos. Again, does that sound familiar? Implement socialism, communism through government force. That's exactly what the Democrats are trying to do. That's exactly what they're trying to do. It is incredible. Forget the propaganda coming out of the news and the media and the politicians. They're liars, and especially Democrats. Any of this makes sense? Subscribe now. Ring that bell so you'll know when we come live. Like on this weekend, when I did not give an advance notice. But you can watch this anytime on our Facebook, Sons of Liberty Riders MC. You can look and find us at Solar MC1 on X. And you can find us right here on YouTube if you subscribe and ring that bell. But hey, we will have another podcast right before New Year's Eve. Let's talk about 2026 and all the advantage that you have at your fingertips. Something we never had until now. And do I use it now? You bet I do. You bet I do. And the thing about AI, it is brutally honest. They will give you the truth as they know it, although they will tell you, yeah, I'm biased because of the input that they have. Like YouTube, where AI is running the show. And try and do what I said to do. Try and talk to a human being on YouTube. Maybe their support channel. Nope. Maybe their admin. Nope. Give it a try. Let me know of your success down below in the comments. This is Butch Popeye Moss. I'm fixing to head for my motorbike. Yeah, here we go. Have a great weekend, everybody. Or a great week.